welcome again to the first edition of the Knowledge Café. My name is Julia Levin. I'm the knowledge lead for Europe and Central Asia. I'm overseeing the KIX EMAP Hub's work with all the countries in the region of Europe and Central Asia. These are 8 overall. And welcome to the Knowledge Café. The idea, it's a new format to try out a less formal meeting. We have our webinars, we have learning cycles, we have workshops, which are more structured in a way. And this event and format where we try to grab a cup of coffee, I hope everyone has their coffees with them, where we can have a discussion of recent developments, maybe grant proposals, maybe ideas, research. So I'm looking forward also to your contribution in ideas for the next Knowledge Cafés. And we have a great start for the first session because the Global Partnership of Education started a new initiative. It's at the Observatory on Education System Resilience. And we have today the implementation partner from Europe, Caucasus, and Central Asian region, our colleague Tatiana from the Center of Society Research, which is based in Ukraine. And I'm very much looking forward to hear all about this new initiative. And for you, you have also the opportunity to ask questions, to comment, to see how you can potentially be involved and connect with initiative. And I'm also seeing, for example, from Kyrgyzstan, I see Masuma is here. She is also at the lead of another Global Partnership of Education initiative, the Education Out Loud initiative, where civil society organizations are also involved. Maybe we can have also some input from her to listen to other GPE initiatives and to see maybe how we can connect and share. So yeah, I would suggest I will hand over now to Tatiana. Very welcome. We are happy to have you here, and she will tell us about this new initiative. And in case you have questions or comments, please post them in the chat. If you would like to, you're currently all muted. And if you would like to comment directly, please raise your hands virtually. There is a button for this. And then we can also open to you the floor so you can also have comment directly. But you can always use the chat and post their questions and comments. Hello, Linda. Welcome also to the session. Okay, then now I'm handing over to Tatiana.
Yeah, thank you very much, Veronica and Julia. It's so exciting to meet you all on such a format meeting, informal with coffee online. Unfortunately, I was imagining how it could be if we will meet offline, but unfortunately not now. But still, thank you very much for organizing the Knowledge Cafe in general. This seems like a wonderful format. And thank you for the invitation and that you let me have some time to present our project. My name is Tatiana Zharyobkina. I work at SEDA think tank as a researcher, analyst, and project coordinator. And I will tell you a little bit about us and about the project itself. Yeah, so may I ask you to next slide? Yeah. So we are independent organization, urban bureau and community, and we work on social and spatial development issues since 10 years. And actually, we believe that everyone has the right to a decent standard of living. Therefore, our goal is to find the systematic causes of social problems and we develop strategies to solve them. So our approach is based on research and usually we plan, conduct, and present study about social processes and public policies, disseminate this knowledge, educate, and strengthen as a community of supporters of these changes. Next slide, please. Yeah, we are working with many topics, but they are blocked. Like we have three main blocks. It's social protection, housing, and mainly education. And education is my sphere of interest. That's why I am here talking to you. Next slide, please. And we have our internal principles of our work. First of all, we examine the relevance of policies to the situation in which society finds itself, and we analyze how this or that policy is formulated, how it is implemented or is being implemented, and what is the direct experience of the beneficiaries of these policies. And in each our project, if it's study or even not study, but communicating or education for communities, for separate groups, we try to follow equality, dignity, solidarity, participation, quality, and empathy. And that's why we try to connect to this project, and that's why we are working on this, and we will do our best to provide and to follow these values through the next 2 years. We are going to work on this project. And next slide, please. Yeah, and about our project that is called Enhancing Education Resilience in Eastern Europe, Caucasus, and Central Asia through knowledge and evidence dissemination. So this project, next slide, please, will cover, are covering 8 countries, as you know. And we understand that these countries exist in quite different conditions and contexts, but all countries face some similar risks and challenges when we are talking about education system, of course. And this include economic and social difficulties, migration, natural disasters, political instability, and external threats from neighbor country, for example. And all of these problems bring us to the huge question of the resilience of education system. And on the one hand, there is increasing attention to education system resilience as a concept, as a challenge, to ensure that our education systems are prepared to respond to current or future disruptions, especially after COVID-19 pandemic. However, there is a limited understanding of what education system resilience might mean in theory, and also what is in practice. And actually, another big question: what disruptions education systems might face beyond those already known in our countries. Next slide, please. So here. Here, actually, our project, the project of colleagues from other observatories who are working also on this question, is focused on the phenomenon of education system resilience I mentioned many times, which is in broad sense means the capacity of an education system to absorb, to resist, and to adapt to disruptions while ensuring the continuity of its vital functions. And here we would like to thank colleagues from IDRC for the scoping study on this issue, because it's really big question, what does it mean, and how different countries understand which words even they use, because it's not gold standard. We use it in different ways. Yeah, next slide, please. So here For our project, we have a couple of research questions. We aim to better understand and to describe how countries in the region defined and how they implement education system resilience, and whether the needs of vulnerable groups are taken into account in these policies and in practices. Also, we will analyze what challenges education system already faced and what potential threats may arise in the future. And here is a big part of this project. It's an attempt to predict, to analyze what may happen. And most importantly, we aim to identify effective approaches and good recommendations that will help countries better prepare for possible crises and changes in education systems. Next slide, please. Sorry, I forgot about coffee. Thank you for this proposition, by the way. In order to gain that objectives and to answer that questions, we have a lot of activities, and within the project, we will have the following main one. First of all, we have started working on comprehensive review on the existing studies, evidence, and policy documents. I'm talking about desk research as a main part in the first part. Also to describe a deeper vision of the resilience of education systems in each country, and the risks that have been or may arise, as well as a general understanding of this concept. We will firstly conduct interviews with representatives of various stakeholder groups, including policy makers from government, from civil society, academia. And we are planning to start this stage in the summer. And also, approximately in the fall, an expert interview will be conducted to collect opinions from a larger number of experts working within the education sphere on this topic. And here we will expect and will be very very glad for your involvement, for your expertise, and for your opinions. Because describing any phenomenon and trying to understand and define any concept of a country from the country without involving any representatives of this country is, of course, an incomplete picture. And any analysis of secondary data or a lot of analyzing a lot of literature, of course, will not replace people. And in particular, based on this data, we will conduct foresight research. It's about trying to predict, to describe potential future disruptions in the educational system. And throughout the project, we plan to hold consultation meetings, workshops, and other events to discuss this common understanding of resilience, of policies related to this concept in education sphere and education sector. And your expertise and your experience is very valuable for us, and we would really like to see an exchange of experience, in particular, so that we can correctly interpret all the data we receive, and also to see. We would like to cooperate with you and to hear your thoughts, to see your country the way you see it. Yeah, and next slide, please. Yeah, so here about key approaches we are going to use here for this project. So we will using both quantitative and qualitative data. we are going to conduct stakeholder mapping to understand key stakeholders in the educational sectors of the region for each country. And here we're going to collaborate with local coordinators in the countries to collect, to process data, to conduct all interviews we are going to have. And about foresight research I have mentioned. And the main part of this project, of course, is online, unfortunately online, or maybe it will be offline workshops or events of other formats with expert groups to have this discussion, exchange of knowledge, of thoughts. Next slide, please. Yeah, and here, we hope that we will conduct this project in such a way that it will be useful for all of us, and in that way that educational system resilience will become a part of the policy development and implementation, because we understand in each country it may be already being implemented, but the question is whether we understand this in the similar way or not, if everything is important included or not, if something may be changed a little bit. Also, we hope that educational systems in partner countries will be better prepared to anticipate and to respond to disruptions, ensuring continuity of education, and also that needs of vulnerable groups will be acknowledged and reflected in the development of disruptions preparedness and response approaches. And we hope that collaboration and communication channels will be developed and strengthened among stakeholders across these countries that are really different, but still have, unfortunately, the same risks and had the same and will be. And will have leading to coordinated and effective responses to future challenges. And next slide. Yeah. So, the final word from my side is for us, this is not just a research project. It's an opportunity for dialogue and for mutual learning among participating countries. And we truly hope that you will benefit from this project also, seeing this as a platform for sharing experience and knowledge and gaining new insight, maybe, and also as a chance to look at your educational system from an outside perspective, and we hope that you will receive valuable ideas and recommendations here. So thank you so much for your attention. I believe that I didn't use more time than I had. And here, I know that this format is expected that you will ask question, but I have the question also. Next slide here. I would like to ask you maybe to discuss here or in chat, what possible risks do you expect in the education system over the next 5 years? If you were thinking about this, or maybe you have already had such, I don't know, discussions, or maybe meetings on different levels. It's like on the future work, a future employee asking how do you see yourself in in 5 years? I hope it's a quite different question, but still, and we know that it's general, it's about future, we never know what is happening, what will happen, but still, maybe you have any thoughts on this question. We will be glad to hear it from you. And here I'm stopping. And I give the floor to Julia or Veronica.
Thank you, Tatiana, for the great presentation and giving us the overview. Let me also, I will also repeat the question in the Russian channel for our colleagues. Да, коллеги, не стесняйтесь, во-первых, писать.
So, dear colleagues, once again, I remind that you can write your questions or comments in the chat, and Tatiana has also brought us the following question. What possible risk do you expect in the education system over the next 5 years? So let's brainstorm and think together, and please write your answers in the chat or raise your hand and we will unmute you. So you can actually comment or respond directly. I can see the first comment in the chat that says that ChatGPT and AI is the risk for the future of our education systems. Could we please unmute Natia? Veronica, could you please help unmute Natia so that she would read the comment on her response?
Hello, everyone. And good luck in your research. It's really very interesting. Yes, I think that the artificial intelligence and the ChatGPT is somehow the risk for the education, and maybe it also the future, because nowadays it's used very well by the children and by the student. Just we have to know how to use it correctly and how to get the benefits from the artificial intelligence. But I see that there are some risks also, because it somehow simplify the education process for the children, and it is somehow the challenge nowadays, I see.
Yeah, thank you, Nadia. Tatiana, would you like to comment directly to that?
Actually, yeah, of course, I believe it's a common issue for all educational systems now. From our side, the purpose of this was to help to make the educational process better and easier, maybe, or more interactive. But still, we have a new challenge for academic integrity, because I'm working with students, so I face this problem too. Yeah, I agree, and yeah, it's a question we are going to discuss through this project. Yeah, thank you for sharing this idea.
Yeah, maybe I also comment what my thinking is on this issue. I think mental well-being will be probably one, let me check if I'm, will be a challenge within the next 5 years. So also when I'm thinking about the situation in Ukraine, even though let's say the war will end very soon, we are still challenged with, I think, the impacts on the mental well-being. And I think also in other countries, from the trends I can observe, the way hate and violence is propagated through social media, for example. I think at school level, if we talk about mobbing and violence, I think this would also pose a challenge within the next years, among others, of course. I saw Olga. Olga, did you raise your hand? Did I see it correctly? I ask Veronica kindly to unmute you so you can comment on it.
Yeah, thank you. I'm Olga, I'm a colleague of Tatiana also, and I would like just to add some opinion to AI comment about that it is a risk, but to my mind it is also a possibility to teach students how to search the information and how to make great fact-checking, because For example, ChatGPT gives you a lot of information, but not all of the time this information is proper and taken from trustful sources. So using AI is also a great possibility to make your work papers or something more interesting, more fulfilled with more information, but also you can teach students how to make this information right. I mean, taken from trustful sources and written in a proper way for your paper or work or anything else. So this is all. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Olga. Maybe someone from another country would like. I see Jarkin commented. We're not ready for it. Yeah, maybe Jarkin, would you like to comment directly so we unmute you?
Thank you. Thank you, Julia. And thank you for this presentation. Interesting and very exciting presentation, I should say. For our Kyrgyzstani education system, it is a risk to lose some things which we got or we had for now, because our education system is transforming and transforming dramatically. Today we are moving to 12-year school education. But from my point of view, maybe my colleagues do not agree with me, but I think that for now we are not ready for it. Our curricula is not appropriate for this. So methodology and textbooks and also we have so many discussions on it now, and we have so many insights from educators and also from parents. That's why it is for us it is a risk. It is a huge risk, but fortunately now the country made this decision to do it gradually, so step by step, and grade by grade. And I think that it was a good decision. Let's see what is going on. Let's see. But it is a very big risk, very big risk. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for this comment. And we hope that we will be able to talk to you like maybe separately soon about all these issues. And like in Ukraine, we also have like moving to a new format to 12-year school. And we have this reform, a new Ukrainian school. And because of full-scale invasion from Russia, we have new challenges for this reform implementation. And I see also it was a question from Sergei Londar. Hello, Sergei. Yeah, about a mechanism of ensuring the resilience of education in Ukraine. And of course, it's a question to this project, and we will communicate with you also on this issue. And here, like after this huge pandemic of COVID, that was kind of beneficial for Ukraine, I would say. Maybe it's just one plus for us, was that Ukrainian education system and other sectors like was not, I don't know, well prepared for online studying, online work in general. And after Russia started this huge bigger war in Ukraine, our like education process were like were still alive, and schools in different ways, but schools were working, universities we work, and because we were prepared to work in this conditions of online. Of course, we may talk a lot about other risks, other challenges here, about risks for life for participants of educational process, but still, thanks to COVID, unfortunately, our students could continue studying. Yeah.
Maybe as we're talking already about country specifics, we had question here in the chat from our colleague from Albania. Let me check, from Linda Pino, and she said she's asking how is the project implemented in Albania, and I think also from the other countries the colleagues are interested. Do you have already country specific activities? Maybe you can comment on that, Tatiana.
I'm trying to find this question in the chat.
I can just repost it. Give me a second, then you have it already down.
Okay.
Yeah, Linda Pino, Albania is asking. She's working for Save the Children. Let me check. Yes, she's working from Save the Children in Albania.
Okay, yeah, if I understand this question correctly, we are yeah, so we will like general context, we will work with 8 countries from the region. Like we are having the similar methodology for the first step, like desk research. Here we'll be asking like you, maybe your colleagues, to share some data, to find like appropriate policy documents. Maybe also we will visit you to ask about expert interviews, and after we will think about the most like appropriate, most like beneficial format of discussion, because we want to bring representatives of educational systems from this region to have discussion on different level. And of course, the main question is what is educational system resilience is in general, and whether it is implemented in our policies already, and whether like it's needed to work on this more, to take some experience from other countries, maybe. Yeah, and also maybe in cooperation with you, we will be thinking about other formats. Maybe it will be possible to gather maybe some blocks of countries, I don't know, that have more or less similar problems, or all countries as offline event maybe to discuss that more. If I just answered the question or not.
Yeah, I think it sounds good. Maybe also just out of curiosity, do we have already national coordinators in the countries, or you're still building up your national infrastructure? So to see if there's already someone at the national level with whom colleagues might connect.
Yeah, now we we will communicate with possible coordinators or local consultants. I believe it may happen next month in April. So yeah, we are collecting data, collecting contacts to discuss this possible cooperation. So if you're interested already, just communicate, just write us in the last slide. I put my contacts, so it will be perfect if you contact me or CEDAS organization in general, and we will communicate about it more. I believe you can share the slides after this meeting. Yeah, and it's like question for you, to you all. if you are interested, you can share your contacts, I don't know, emails or any other here in chat maybe, or after these meetings. Yeah, because it will be very useful for us to communicate with you, to start to start this partnership.
Okay, Olga is raising her hand.
Yeah, I also invite anybody who is interested to cooperate with us to share their contacts, and I think together we can do more in this project, and its results can be useful for all of the countries to build their resilience in education, not only from our region, but also we will be glad to share our contacts with anyone interested. Thanks.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. I also see Jacqueline just raised her hand. I give her the floor. And Masuma raised. I think we have some great people here from our network. Here are our coordinators, but we have Jacqueline. She's has really great experience in Kyrgyzstan. She's for a long time already. She's overseeing lots of developments there. So I give you the floor, and then Masuma. Yeah.
Yeah, it is always interesting to compare our experience and to see where we have good things to share with each other, or maybe some mistakes or some, bad things. It is always interesting and useful. Yeah.
Thank you, Jacqueline. And Masuma from Kyrgyzstan also.
Well, good day. I will be speaking Russian regarding the risks. I think one of the risks is insufficient number and insufficient preparation and training of the educators, school educators. Today we speak about climate education, about some key skills that should be incorporated in the educational process, because in Central Asia countries, most of the teachers and educators are of older age, and for them it's also a very huge mental burden, psychological burden, to master so many new skills. And also technically it might be difficult because climate change might affect the infrastructure, school infrastructure of other educational institutions, and that might actually lead to change of the approaches of the to the education process. Yes, thank you very much. Masuma is from Education Outlight. This is a civil society initiative. Can you please repeat the name of your organization? Yes, this is the Association of Education Development in Kyrgyzstan. This is a non-government, non-commercial organization uniting 15 different NGOs at different levels of education. After this meeting, we will really ensure that we have each other's contacts. And I would also like to comment, I think one of the biggest risks is that international organizations at the global level push for some changes, and they do not always take into consideration the position of the teachers and educators. Like, for instance, in Kyrgyzstan, teachers have to attend lots and lots of trainings, which takes time. It takes time not only to attend, but also to adapt to new programs, curricula, technologies. But nobody is actually considering that. They are just imposing a lot of changes on the educators without taking into consideration what kind of a burden it is for them. And they are also losing some points, some positions of the teachers and parents. And I can see that Sergey is raising his hand. Over to you.
Dear colleagues, I am glad to meet you again. We have meeting every day. So it is very pleasure for me. And It is pleasure that we have the first project within in Ukraine within KIX EMAP hub, and the resilience of education really is very important issue. The resilience of education is the property of education system to keep their functionality even in circumstances of bigger risks. As a rule, some mechanism exists that ensuring the resilience of education. The mechanism has several interactions elements. Among them, there are technologies of learning and teaching and technologies of educational management, etc. And this mechanism pushes the educational system to internal transformation. In new state, the educational system must be more flexible and effective. But such transformation takes time. So the adequate foresight investigation are very important. And Tatiana said about this. This investigation must identify the main regional and global challenges and threats and create the rating of risk. On the basis of this risk, of this rating, we can create the plan of future measures for reducing the impact of internal and external threats like the social disturbances, war, epidemic, economic crisis, demographic shifts, population relocation, natural factors, climate change, negative impact of social technologies such as artificial intelligence, etc. I work in Institute of Education Analytics, ruled by the Ministry of Education and Science of Ukraine, and the institute has a number of investigations that relate to the problems of ensuring the resilience of education in crisis conditions. So we are always ready to share our experience. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Sergey, for sharing. I'm now checking if we have more questions in the chat, or if anyone would like to comment anything. So colleagues, please feel free to post any questions in the chat. Let me check. So, да. Да, коллеги, я перешла опять в русский канал, не стесняйтесь, если у вас есть какие-то вопросы.
I've moved into the Russian channel again. Perhaps you have some questions or comments. If so, please raise your hand and we can give you the floor. I see, for example, that we have colleagues from Tajikistan. Maybe one of you would like to make a comment. We've heard our colleagues from Georgia today, Kyrgyzstan. I see also we have a colleague, Natalia, from Moldova. Natalia, if you would like, I can give you the floor as well. So please help me turn on our microphone. Yes, thank you very much, Yulia. In Moldova, we also face certain problems, the greatest of which is that once people become teachers, they often our teachers are quite elderly, and as such aren't interested in the adaptations and improvements that the ministry is suggesting to improve the education process. But young teachers tend to leave the education system. They don't want to stay in the profession. And currently, our ministry and our institute are taking measures to better ensure that new teachers remain in the education system. So this aspect is something that we are dealing with right now in our country. Thank you. Thank you, Natalia. I think that other countries face similar challenges, challenges that teachers often are elderly and younger teachers aren't very interested in staying in the teaching profession. Also, the high workload is a common challenge for many countries, and it would be interesting to look at these challenges and see what can be done about them. I can see that our colleague from Tajikistan, Shadibek, has raised his hand and would like to say something. So Veronica, could you please turn on his microphone? Yes, Shadibek. Hello, dear colleagues. I welcome all of you and support this new platform. Thank you for the organizers of this wonderful platform. This is a great place to exchange ideas and knowledge. As for risks to education system resilience, I would like to say that every country has their own risks. For example, for one country, the issue of having too many elderly teachers is a risk, whereas for another country, there may be very dramatic changes and they may face a great deal of uncertainty, and that can also be a risk. I would like to point out two risks that I personally have been observing. I think that they relate to all countries. The first of these risks is an increase in the number of women in the teaching profession. We see that the percentage of women among teachers has now risen above 70%. In Tajikistan, it's now 72% of all teachers are women. Of course, this is not a bad thing. There's nothing terrible about an increase in the share of women among. Shadibeg, I think your internet has broken off. Unfortunately, we can't hear you. So we lost the last sentence or two. Can you hear me now? Yes, perhaps you could turn off your camera and then maybe your sound will be better. I'll try it. Yes, we can hear you now. Yes. Perhaps there are no problems with the rise in the share of women among teachers, but there are certain studies which show that a sharp rise in the number of women, the number of female teachers, can create certain systemic risks for the education system. And the main question is, why do men not want to stay in the profession? Why do they move on to other sectors instead of staying in the teaching profession? And so we can see that there may be a risk of the teaching profession becoming a so-called female profession exclusively. And this is a negative risk, of course, and requires more attention and analysis. We need to look at different approaches to the labor market, different approaches to pedagogy, different approaches to education management. The second risk that we currently observe is a drop in demand for education in general, especially a drop in demand for quality education, or sorry, low quality education. High quality education always has demand, although it could be higher, should be higher. But what we see in recent times is a drop in the number of students in colleges and higher education institutions. We also observe a drop in the number of master's and PhD students. These are people who could be continuing their postgraduate studies, but are choosing not to. And this speaks to the fact that demand for education is dropping, and this may have to do with trends in economic and social development. I believe that these two risks are global in nature, and they should be the focus of very careful studies. Thank you. Thank you very much, Shadibek. I see I was in the wrong channel. Yes, I agree with you with your commentary. I think you've touched upon two important issues. First of all, gender inequality or lack of gender equity in the teaching profession. And it's important for women to be involved in responsible positions in education. We need to look at how women and men view the situation. Also, the role of youth and young people and their decision to earn money or get a higher education. I think this is an important area that needs to be discussed and looked at. I can see more comments coming in. I can see there's a need to discuss how we might meet in the future, have a brainstorming, and perhaps exchange some more ideas and continue the discussions that we've begun. I'm very grateful for your activity. This is our first attempt with this format, and I can see that there's been a lot of active participation. I thank all of those who have contributed to this meeting, and I can say that from my perspective, we've had a successful meeting. We will put together all the input that we've gotten today, and we'll think about how we can continue this process. Tatiana and our other colleagues who spoke today, I think we will talk to you about how we can continue working going forward. I would like to thank each of you. And I also want to point out that we are in the process of finalizing a study of our results over the past 5 years. We're sending each of you a questionnaire. I'd like to ask you to answer it because it will help us to better understand how we have managed to bring specialists together. So please share your insights about how you've been able to meet new colleagues and establish new and important contacts. So let's learn from our experience and talk about what we can do to continue this going forward. Thank you, all of you. I'd like to wish all of our colleagues from Central Asia a happy Nowruz holiday at the beginning of the spring. Thank you for joining us. I'd like to also thank you, Tatiana and Olha from Ukraine, who have joined us in talking about their new initiatives. Thank you, each of you. And let's say goodbye until we meet again. Thank you.